If you watch this video, you probably know that the command line interface is not the prettiest one, but it is for sure one of the most powerful tools available. Linux and command line go hand in hand, with Linux powering over 95% of the world's top servers. Learning the Linux command line is a valuable skill if you have an interest in tech-related fields such as coding, system administration, data science, etc. I'm gonna put it in a very simple way. Taking this course will help you with the knowledge to apply for Linux-related jobs. I'm Ashkin and I'm here to guide you through this course. With years of experience teaching thousands of students in person and offering a best-selling course on Udemy, I am well equipped to help you learn. Currently, I work in a tech firm where Linux is an essential part of my daily routine. This course covers a wide range of Linux commands, and it is designed to give you a comprehensive understanding of how these commands work. It includes challenges, quizzes, and exercises, allowing you to apply your knowledge in a practical lab assignments. In terms of course content, we'll start by setting up a lab environment on Google Cloud Platform, a free option for creating a Linux instance with just a click. Once you have Linux machine, we'll dive into the fundamentals of command line interface, covering basic Linux commands, file and folder operations, file ownership, and permissions. You will also learn how to manage users and groups in Linux and grant them necessary privileges. As you build a strong foundation, we're going to explore more advanced topics such as Linux repositories, software package installation, and software management using the Yum utility. I will also guide you through setting up a Linux desktop version in a VirtualBox isolated from your primary operating system. You will gain knowledge in managing processes, configuring networking, and creating and managing systemd services, crucial in enterprise server environments. Last but not least, I will give you enough knowledge about bash shell scripting so that you can start automating the manual tasks. For example, you will learn how to create a backup script which will take a backup of a specific directory periodically, or we're gonna even automate the deployment of web application. All this knowledge gained from this course will help you to be a confident Linux user. Remember, you will have lifetime access to course materials, and we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. So thanks for watching. I hope I will see you in the course. Hello and welcome to exciting tutorial on Linux. In this video, we are going to explore what Linux is and why it is so awesome. At its most basic level, Linux is an operating system. It's the software that runs on your computer and allows you to interact with it. It is free and open source operating system that allows you to do all sorts of amazing things with your computer. Linux was created back in the early 1990s by a Finnish programmer named Linus Torvalds, who wanted to make an operating system that was accessible to everyone, without any restrictive licensing or fees. Today, Linux is used by millions of people around the world, from hobbyists and students to scientists and developers. One of the biggest benefits of Linux is its openness. Because it's open source, anyone can access the source code and modify it to suit their needs. This has led to development of thousands of different versions of Linux, known as distributions or distros for short. Another benefit of Linux is its stability and security. Linux is known for being very stable and rarely crashing or freezing. It is also less vulnerable to viruses and other types of malware than other operating systems, making it a great choice for users who are concerned about security. Now you might be wondering, how is Linux different from other operating systems like Windows or macOS? Well, for one thing, Linux is completely free. There are no licensing fees or hidden costs. And because it's open source, you can access the code, and if you are smart enough, you can customize it to your heart's content. This has led to development of many specialized versions of Linux for different purposes, such as scientific computing, multimedia production, and gaming. Linux can generally work for much longer periods of time without needing a reboot compared to Windows. This is because Linux is designed to be highly stable and reliable operating system with robust memory management and process handling capabilities. All these reasons make it an ideal choice for servers and other mission-critical systems that require higher levels of uptime and reliability. Learning Linux is essential for everyone entering the IT world because it's one of the widely used operating systems in the industry. Since many of the world's servers, supercomputers, and embedded devices run on Linux, it's really good to explore how big Linux job industry is, and that's what we're gonna do in the next video. As you already know, there are tons of Linux distributions, but you might be wondering why I am specifically comparing Red Hat versus CentOS. The simple answer is because both distributions are two of the most used Linux distributions in businesses as enterprise Linux. A lot of software companies use these distributions. Recently, Alma Linux became one of the most used Linux distributions in the IT industry as well, but for the purpose of this video, I will give a small comparison about Red Hat and CentOS. Let me start with Red Hat. Red Hat Enterprise Linux is a serious Linux for businesses. The Red Hat source code is free, so you can go there and install it. However, if you want to use Red Hat Linux distribution from Red Hat Incorporated, you have to pay it. It is because when you get Red Hat, you also get technical support from Red Hat Incorporated. Many businesses choose Red Hat because it's very stable and reliable platform. But the problem is that Red Hat is expensive. At this right point, CentOS comes to play. CentOS Linux is an exact copy of Red Hat, so you can think of this way: CentOS downloaded Red Hat source code, compiled it, and provided it for free for everyone. The main difference between Red Hat and CentOS Linux is when you use CentOS, you don't get any support. By the way, later on CentOS is owned by Red Hat, and this is where they discontinued CentOS Linux. In 2020, Red Hat announced that they will not support CentOS Linux anymore. When CentOS Linux 8 is released, it's expected that Red Hat will support it for 10 years, but then they decided that they will discontinue CentOS Linux. It doesn't affect ordinary users a lot, but if your business runs on CentOS Linux, and you may be worried about it because it's possible that in the future you can face some problems, since CentOS stability and reliability will be under question. The open source community was not happy about Red Hat's decision, therefore they provided Alma Linux, which is open source, forever free enterprise Linux distribution, and it is exactly compatible with Red Hat Enterprise Linux. You can go there and start using Alma Linux in your critical applications. Frankly speaking, I would recommend it. Anyway, when Red Hat made a decision, they also announced a new CentOS distribution, which is CentOS 3. What is it? Basically, it's a development platform for Red Hat. Before releasing a stable version of Red Hat, all the changes, new features are developed and tested in CentOS 3 for a while. If everything goes well in CentOS 3 for a while, then the same changes can be implemented in Red Hat. I hope you understand why the community was angry about discontinuation of CentOS, because CentOS Linux was a stable version, but CentOS 3 is not stable. It is kind of sandbox for Red Hat. Throughout this course, I'm gonna use CentOS 9, which is the last version as of today, but you can also use the last stable CentOS Linux, which is CentOS Linux 7. Both distributions are provided by the Google Cloud. Anyway, I tried to give you a better understanding of the difference between CentOS and Red Hat. I hope this tutorial was useful for you. That's it. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Let's learn what a virtual machine is. Virtual machine is a machine which is virtual. And that's it. No, I'm just kidding. It was a bad joke actually. But seriously, let me explain what a virtual machine is. Let's take a normal laptop that we are all using. This laptop has hardware such as CPU, RAM, disk, and etc. On the top of hardware, we install operating system. Let's say Windows operating system, which controls how applications such as Microsoft Word or Notepad will use these hardware resources. And of course, these applications are installed on the top of the operating system. Up until now, everything is okay. But what if you want to use the CentOS operating system? What are you gonna do? The first option is buying a new laptop where Linux operating system is installed. Or you will remove your Windows operating system and then install Linux on the same hardware. Here you are saying that we have dual boot option, which allows to run two operating systems on the same hardware. But again, it will allow you to run just two operating systems. What if you want to use Ubuntu, CentOS, and Windows on the same hardware? This is the reason why virtualization exists. You're gonna have virtualization tool on top of the operating system, and on top of the virtualization tool, you will install CentOS, Ubuntu, or Windows, whatever operating system you want. By using virtualization technology, you don't need separate hardware for each operating system, and we call virtualization technology a hypervisor that allows you to run different operating systems on the same hardware. There are two types of hypervisors, type 1 and type 2. Type 2 is actually what I just described. We have hardware resources, and then we have host operating system. On top of it, we have hypervisor, and on top of the hypervisor, we install different operating systems. However, in type 1 hypervisor, we install hypervisor directly on the hardware itself, which means that hypervisor controls hardware resources directly. We don't need a host operating system, and since we install it on the hardware itself, type 1 hypervisor is also called bare metal hypervisor. I hope everything is understandable until now, but you might be wondering why we learn virtualization technology, why it is so important. Well, the first thing is virtualization is one of the most beautiful things that has happened to the IT world. We are gonna hear the concept of virtualization a lot if you work in the IT industry. Since we are learning Linux, we need a Linux operating system to get some hands-on experience. Therefore, we will create a virtual machine which runs Linux distribution CentOS on the Google Cloud platform. It's a cloud platform that allows you to create different instances or virtual machines on the cloud. And most of the cloud providers use type 1 hypervisor to run their infrastructure. So when we create a virtual machine on the Google Cloud platform, we actually create a virtual machine on the physical hardware. And most likely, there are hundreds or thousands of users who create virtual machines on the same physical server that we just created ours. I also would like to tell you a few benefits of virtual machines. The first one is cost saving. You can run multiple virtual machines on a single physical server, which can save you money on the hardware and electricity cost. The second benefit is flexibility. You can run different operating systems and applications on the same physical machine, which can be useful for testing, development, and experimentation. Then we have another benefit called isolation. So each virtual machine is isolated from other virtual machines, which provides a higher level of security and stability. The last benefit is scalability. You can easily add or remove virtual machines as needed, depending on your workload requirements. There are a lot of benefits of virtualization technology, but since it's out of the scope of this course, I just listed a few of them. You can always ask Google to get more examples, but for now, I think that's all about virtual machines. Bye, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Now we are going to activate our free Google Cloud platform. As I said before, throughout this course, we are going to use this Google Cloud platform, which is free and it's also very useful. So it's really good for the beginners. So since we are in the beginning of the road, we are going to use this Google Cloud platform, and we are going to create some virtual machines in this platform. So let's just log into our console. So just type console cloud.google.com and click enter. Then you have to provide your email address. This is my email address. When you just log in your console, so it will ask you select you have to agree these terms of service. Agree email updates, I don't want to do that, and then agree and continue. As you see that on the top of the screen, you can see it says start your free trial with 300 USD. So this Google Cloud platform provides us 300 credits, 300 USD credits, like you can use for 3 months. Now let's just click this activate button. We are going to activate our account. And okay, you just need to select organization. So I can choose personal project, then agree, continue. So your account type, it's individual for me. Now I'm just going to fill all the details here. Here we have to provide our card details, card number and etc. So, but do not worry about that because we will not be charged until you just upgrade your account manually later on. Because as you see that here it says it is 300 USD credit for free. So after 3 months, Google asks you to upgrade your account manually. So it will not be upgraded automatically. That is why if you don't want to upgrade your account, then you will not be charged. Now I'm just going to fill my card details. Now just click the start my free trial button. And if you click this continue button, it will verify your account. There will be another browser. By the way, it may happen that you will not see this pop-up window because it depends on how your bank card is configured. For example, for me, when I just click this continue button, it will give me some code and then I have to confirm that code in my phone. So it depends on how your bank card is configured. So you can fill these sections as you want. I'm going to choose, for example, explore, websites maybe, virtual machines of course, and then that's it for me. We are going to skip it for now. So that's it. We just activated our free Google Cloud Platform account. Next step is to create our first virtual machines in this cloud platform. But before that, I would like to show you these billing sections. So here you can see your billing information. As you can see that it says I have 313 euros free, like it's free. And then I have 91 days remaining. So it means that I have 3 months to spend this amount of money. So after 3 months, Google asks you to upgrade your account. If you don't upgrade your account, then you will not be charged, but all your resources will be kept there. So if you want to upgrade your account later on, then you can access your resources as well. Now we can create our first virtual machine. So we are going to use Compute Engine and VM instances. And you can also enable this Compute Engine API. After you enable your Compute Engine API, you will face this window. So here you can create your instance. There is also a create instance button, just click on that. Now we have to give the name for our instance. So for the first time, let's just use CentOS. Let's use CentOS 1 maybe. You can also add labels, but we don't need it right now. And you can choose your region. I think it's really best if you choose the region that's near to your country. For example, I will choose, let's say Finland. And that's it. So here you can see that there's a series. It really doesn't matter, but it's good to use this E3 instance. And then machine type, you can choose medium, small, micro, and you can also choose the bigger ones. But for now, I think actually the small is enough. But let's just choose A2, medium. So it will provide from 1 to 2 CPU, 1 shared core of course, and 4 GB of memory. And display device, we don't need to use display device. So I'm just not going to enable display device. Okay, here I boot disk. So as you see that our name, the instance name is CentOS 1. type new balance persistent disk, that's okay. Size 10 gigabytes, so it means your hard disk, it's 10 gigabytes. And license type free, and then image is Debian GNU Linux. So I don't want to use Debian, I will be using CentOS machine. So let's change it. From Debian we can choose CentOS, and as a version we are going to use the latest one, which is CentOS Stream 9. So it's okay. Balance persistent disk, that's okay. And as a size, your hard disk size, you can choose whatever you want. So 20 gig is really enough for our purpose, so let's just select it. And we have also other like options here, like you can choose allow default access, like it has some default options, or maybe you can choose like allow full access to all cloud APIs, but like basically the first one is okay for our purpose. And as a firewall rule, we don't need to choose any of that. So, but there will be some cases that we can choose one of these options, or we can create our own firewall rule. So basically, firewall is a network security system like that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic, like based on these security rules. But we don't need to choose any of these options right now. Now we can just create our virtual machine, but before that I would like to show you something. As you see that it is right now, it is 29 USD, which means that this is the monthly estimate. So basically if your virtual machine runs in a month, then it will cost you 29 USD, but it will be charged from your free credits. But here if we choose the small one, each small instance, then you will see that it's just around 15 USD. So it depends how you want to use your virtual machine, and based on that you can choose small, medium or large. But let's now choose medium. So it really doesn't matter in our case, but let's just choose medium and then create our virtual machine. And here also you can see that it creates your VM instance. So for me it was just less than 20 seconds. In 20 seconds we just created our own virtual machines in this Google Cloud platform. Now it's time to access or connect our machine. So from this drop down menu you can see there are some options, but for the sake of simplicity we are going to use SSH. So SSH is a kind of network protocol that allows you connect your virtual machine or server. So you don't need to know anything right now about this SSH connection, but for now we're just going to use this option. So just click on this SSH button and it will create a new browser window, and it will take around 20 seconds maybe to open your Linux machine. Our virtual machine is ready. So I will talk about this interface in the next lecture, but for now I would like to use this uptime command. So uptime shows you how long your server is up. So right now it says that our server is our merged virtual machine is up for 15 minutes. So right now this Linux machine is running for 15 minutes, and you can also see from here, like if you select your virtual instance from the monitoring section, you can just monitor your virtual machine. For example, when it's created, the CPU usage is around 72%, but right now it is around 1, and it is 27. Probably it will be decreased as well. And then there are also some additional information like about disk input outputs, throughput, network packets. Like if you have some issues with your network, then it will be shown here. You will see that there are some fluctuations in this graph, or network bytes, and etc. But for now I think that's it. So we can move to next lecture. Let's talk about a little bit about Linux Bash shell. But before that, what you see here, this black window, it is just called a terminal. So it's a program called Terminal Emulator, and this program just opens a window and lets you interact with the shell. But what is shell? The shell is a program that takes commands from the keyboard and gives them to the operating system to perform. For example, last time, if you remember, they used this command, uptime. So what does shell do in this case? Shell just takes this uptime command as an input from the keyboard, and then it will give it to the operating system, to our Linux machine or to our virtual machine. And then this Linux machine will perform this command. The Linux will know that if we write uptime command, it will automatically show the duration of our Linux machine since it is started. So right now it says it is up to 13 days. So this is just how shell works. And shell, it's just program and that provides access to an operating system's components. The shell gives the users a way to get inside the system. So this is just very simple. Shell is used to take some commands from your keyboard and then just pass it to the operating system, to our Linux machine. Let me clear the screen. And we have also one term, it is called CLI. So it's abbreviation of command line interface. So it is just a tool, it's called command line interface, and Bash is just one of these command line interface tools. We have also a graphical user interface. So I will show you this graphical user interface in one of the future videos, but it's not that important right now. But the most important thing is we need to use command line interface commands. If you look at the job description, that requires some knowledge of Linux. So when they say Linux, they mean that, of course, you need to know some like general information about how Linux works, or maybe in some cases they will require some deep knowledge about Linux operating systems, Linux distributions. But when they say Linux, they actually mean that you need to know the command line interface. You need to know how command works in Linux, and you have to be very comfortable by using these commands. So we learn command line interface. So Bash is just one of these command line interface tools. So right now in our terminal, in our shell, we see that we have this name, and then we have this sign, @sign, and then another name. So as you already assumed that, as you already guessed that, the first part is just a username. If you just write another command, it's called users, and then press enter, it will show in the name of user. So it says Eşkin Udemy1. So it is just username. And then after this @sign, we have CentOS1. So it is our hostname. CentOS1 is the hostname. And how you can know that? Let's just clear the screen. We have another command, it's called hostname. If you just run this command, it will show you the hostname of your operating system, hostname of our Linux machine. Let's press enter. As you see that it says it is CentOS1. So that is the hostname. The other thing is, if you see that we have this tilde sign here. So tilde means that it just displays that it is the home directory of user. So we have another command, it's called pwd, and it means print working directory. So it will print the directory that currently we are in. So let's press enter. So it shows that it is home, it's the home directory, or maybe let's say that it is just home folder. And after home folder, we have Eşkin Udemy1 folder. So this is our home directory. So tilde means this directory. It is as simple as that. So I think that's it for this video. Now let's learn some popular commands in the next video. Working with the shell is all about working with the command syntax. Throughout this course, we're going to use a lot of different commands. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use a few simple commands, and so that you'll understand how command works in shell environment. Let's start using ls command. As you already know that ls is used to list all the files in the current directory. So write ls and then press enter. Right now we don't have any files in this directory. By the way, we can also print our working directory using pwd command. So right now we are in the home directory, but we don't have any files in this directory. So that is why let's just list other directories, other files. So use ls, and under etc we have a lot of files. As you see that we have a lot of files in this directory, etc directory. ls itself just lists all the files. It doesn't display any other properties of the file. So, but we can also use some options with this ls command to display other properties of the files that displayed here. So let me just clear the screen, and we are going to use ls, and then we have to put some options. So in order to put options with command, you need to use dash sign, and after dash you have to write your option. Right now we are going to use L option. It is small letter, lowercase letter L, and then we have to write our directory. So let's press enter. As you see that it displays all the files, but it also shows some additional properties. For example, let's just take alternatives. Alternatives is a directory. I know that it's a directory. So first of all, the color is different. As you see that it is a blue color. So it is a directory, but the color actually can be different in other shell environments. But the best way to know that if it's a directory, you can just look at here. If we have D, letter D, in the beginning of this row, then it means that it's a directory. These are called permissions, but we are going to learn these permissions in the future. Here you can also see the size of alternatives folder, alternatives directory. So right now it is 4096 bytes, but you can also use another option, which is H option. So using this option, you can display all the files in more human readable format. So let me just clear the screen, and I'm going to use the same command, same option, but we'll have another option, H, and then our directory name, and then press enter. So as you see that alternatives directory now has 4.0 kilobytes, so it's basically 4096 bytes, but it will be in more human readable format. Usually command syntax has three basic parts: the command itself, its options, and its arguments. So ls is the command itself, and -l, the lowercase letter L, is the option, and etc directory here is the argument of this command. Let me show you one more command. So it is change directory command. Let me clear the screen first of all. And the command name is cd. So cd means that change directory. So right now, before that, let's print our working directory. So as you see that it is home udemy1. This is our current directory. And if I want to go to the etc directory, I need to use this command cd. So it will change the directory to etc. And press enter. So as you see that here right now we are in this etc directory, but before that we are in the home directory. If you remember, as I said in the previous video, this tilde sign means that it is the home directory. Under etc directory we also saw that we have alternatives directory. Let's go to that directory using this cd command again. So right now we are in the, let's just print the working directory. We are in the etc directory under root. This / is called root, but I will explain it in the future. Right now just you have to know that it is a root directory, and under root directory we have etc directory, etc folder, let's say, and under etc we have alternatives directory. I'm gonna go to that directory, so cd alternatives and press enter. So right now we are in this alternatives directory. Let's print the working directory again. As you see that before this command we are in the etc directory, but right now we are in alternatives directory. So if you want to go back, you can use cd command again, but this time you have to use 2 dots and then backslash and press enter. So let's print the working directory. You see that previously it was under the alternatives, but right now we are in the etc directory. And if I do this command again, so cd 2 dots backslash, I will go to the root directory. Let's use pvd command again. So this is the root directory. And if you want to go to your home directory, so you can just use this tilde sign, cd and tilde sign, because if you remember, we said that tilde sign is home directory. So cd tilde sign and press enter, and let's print the working directory. As you see that we are under the home directory of this user called eshkin-udemy1. I'm just going to go to that alternatives directory again. So I am using etc, and under etc we have alternatives. Let's print the working directory. Okay, we are under the alternatives directory. Let's say that I would like to go back to the root directory. In order to do that, you don't need to use one by one. Just write cd and then 2 dots slash, again 2 dots slash. It will directly go to the root directory. Press enter. And now let's print the working directory. As you see that it is in the root directory. That's it for now. See you in the next lecture. Let's talk about alias. So what is alias and how we're going to use it? Alias is just a command that actually a user can define if it is needed. For example, if you remember that we have two commands called ls, it is used to list the directories. Let's just list what is under this var directory. So I'm gonna use like ls command and then press enter. It will just list everything under this var directory. We have one similar command as well. It is ll, if you remember that. Now let's use this command to list everything under the var. As you see that ll is a bit different than ls. So it still lists all the directories, everything under this var directory. But it also shows some other properties. It displays permissions, ownership, and also some other stuff about the file. So it's a bit different than ls, but of course the main point is just to list everything under the directories. So but ll, as you see that ll is different than ls, but actually ll is kind of alias of this ls command. So we can check it. Let's clear the screen. Let's run this ls again, but we have to use var. And let me run ls and then dash, and then we are going to use this option called l and then press enter. We have to use also this var directory. By the way, you can go this like one command back using your arrow keys. If you just press this up arrow key, you will get that command that is run like previously. So okay, ls dash l and our var directory, and let's press enter. As you see that it is the same with ll command. So ll is just a kind of alias of this ls minus l command. ls is the command itself, and minus l is kind of, it is just an option. Let me clear the screen and let's do one more time. So I'm gonna run this command ls dash l var and then ll again. Of course we have to use var. As you see that they're same, they're exactly same. But how can we know that this is the alias of this ls minus l command? So you can use alias, you can just write alias and it will show all the aliases that you have. It is right here. As you see that ll equals to ls minus l. So they're just same command actually. And keep in mind that some aliases are already provided by default. We can also make our own aliases. So let me just clean the screen first. We already know this pvd command, right? pwd, it will print the working directory. So right now we are under the home directory of this user, eshkin-udemy1. And I'm gonna use alias and I'm gonna name it as eshkin, it's my name. and then we are gonna define this hkin as pvd command. So for that we have to use this alias command. It's the command to create aliases. So alias, and then you are gonna write your new command name. So new command name will be hkin, and you're gonna write your old command name. So old command is pvd, and press enter. So it is just done. You just created alias called hkin, and it will just point to the pvd command. Let's see how it works. So if you run pvd, it works great. It doesn't matter, it's not affected. But if you use hkin, as you see that it will do the same thing, because hkin is just this command, parent working directory. You can also remove your alias, so you have to use this unalias command, and then just write your new command name, and then press enter. And that's it. If you run this hkin command again, you will see that it says command not found. In this point, I would like to ask you a simple question. So imagine that you have a command which is already existed, and you want to use that command name for your alias. So what will happen in this case? Well, let's see it in practice. Let's just clear the screen, and let's say that we have this command, right? cd command. It is used to change the directory. For example, I can use cd, and then we can go to the etc directory. And then if we do pwd, so we are under the etc directory. And if you just write cd itself, it will go back to the home directory. So this is it. This is how this cd command works. But let's say that you want to use this cd name, this command name, as your, let's say that for the listing the directories. For example, cd equals to, I'm gonna use ls. I'd like to point this cd command to the ls command. So when I type cd, we don't know it will take the, it will perform as change directory command, or it will perform as a listing command. Let's just create this alias, and let's see what is happening here. If I type cd, and then I print, I just pressed enter, it doesn't show anything, because if you do ls, there's also nothing in this directory. But if we do cd and then etc, so actually it should go to the etc directory. But if you press enter, you will see that it just lists everything under this directory. Just remember that it's very important. Aliases are executed before anything else. So it means that if you have command with the name cd, but you also made some command with the name cd again, the alias will always execute it first before that real cd command. Of course, you can use absolute path of that command. So we're gonna talk about what's the path in the future videos. In that case, if you use path of this change directory command, then it will be used as this change directory command. But if you don't use absolute path of that command, then always aliases are executed before that command. That's all about alias. So let's talk about history command in the next video. Imagine that you had a very long command like this one, and you used this command, let's say 2 hours ago, but you don't remember it now. So what are you gonna do? Well, the best possible solution is to look at the history of the commands that you have used previously. The history, we have this history command. It's actually a feature, and it makes a lot easier to repeat complex commands. So let's just type history and press enter. So it will display all commands in the bash history. As you see that since beginning we have used these commands. You can also search a specific command in the history by pressing Ctrl R. But before that, let's clear the screen and let's just run one long command. I'm gonna use acon command. It is just, this is a command, and it is just used to print something in the output of the terminal. So let's say that I'm gonna say my name is hkin, and I am from Azerbaijan. And that's it. Let's run this command. Now let's run other commands as well, just to have a few commands after echo. So in the bash history, let's say that let's run ls, let's run lsl cd pwd. I think it's enough. So now let's write history again. As you see that in the below we have new commands, and then we're gonna search specific string. For example, I mean the command name. You have to press the Ctrl R and it will open the prompt, and then you can just type a string, I mean the command name. For example, let's search for this echo. As you see that it already defines this command. So when you type a string, it will do backward search in the commands that containing that string as the command name or one of its arguments. And if you find it, you can just press enter. It will just run that command. Let's clear the screen and let's run this history command one more time. As you can see, it displays how many commands that we have in the bash history. There is a number for every command. And right now we have 89 commands that we have used previously. So bash is configured by default to keep the last 1000 commands a user used previously. But let's say that you want to run, for example, let's say you want to run this pwd command. Like one option is of course using this Ctrl R and then write a command and it will search for it, then you can just run it. And another option is, let's run this history command again. So another option is you can use exclamation mark and the command number. For example, I would like to run this command. I'm going to use exclamation mark and then I'm going to put this number. It is 81 and then press enter. Another point I would like to mention is about removing the history. In some cases you may want to wipe the bash history. So for that we can use the C option for the history command. Let's clear the screen. And if you type history and then dash and then C, it's gonna clean the current history. And if you just press enter, so the history is just cleaned. Now let's use history command. As you see that there's only one command, and which is history itself. There are also other useful options about history command that you can Google it if you want. But for now, that's all about the history. Linux command is a program or a utility that runs on the command line or terminal. In Linux, we have two types of commands, internal and external command. An internal command is a command that's a part of the shell itself. So it means that the internal command is a shell built-in. But how can you know that if the command is internal or external? Actually, that's very simple to check. You can do it by using a type command. After type, you just need to write the command name. For example, I would like to look for pwd command. It says pwd is a shell built-in, and it means that this command is internal command. We can also check cd command, for example, type, and our command name will be cd. And cd is also a shell built-in command, so it means that it's internal command as well. But where these commands are located, because we said that a Linux command is a program or utility, which means that there should be some files related to these commands. So for that we can use which command. You have to write which, and after that you have to provide the command name. For example, let's use pwd again, and it says that this command is located in user bin pwd. Let's check the other command, cd. It's also located in user bin directory. Let me clear the screen and then let's see that what's under this user bin directory. So I'm gonna use ls, then user, and then bin. As you can see that we have a lot of files here, and just keep in mind that they are binary files. And also if you notice that we used user bin, bin here means that binary. So they are all binary files, or in other words we can say that they are all executable files. When you run the pwd or cd command, these binary files will be executed. Let's see where is the pwd file. As you can see that pwd is here, and our CD file is here. They are all binary files. The external command is also a command that exists as an executable file on the disk of the computer. When a user runs a command, at first the shell will determine whether it's an internal command or external command. If it's not internal command, it will look for an executable file with a name that matches the command on the disk. Let's see what external commands that we have already used. Let me just clear the screen. And I'm gonna check ls command. So type ls. As you can see, it doesn't say that it's a shell built-in command, which means that ls is external command. But where ls is located? So as you already know that we can use which command. So which, then write ls. And it's also under this user bin directory. And it's in the same directory with cd and pwd commands. There's also one important point about external commands. When we run external commands, Linux goes through a list of directories to search a file name which is the same as with the command name. And that list is stored in a variable called path. We haven't learned variables yet, but we'll learn them in this section as well. So let's print these directories. Let's use echo command. You already know this command from the previous videos. So I'm going to use echo, then our variable name. It just prints the path itself. If you want the command line to interpret the path as a variable, then you have to use a $sign in front of that variable. For example, echo, then $sign, then your variable name. Now it displays all the directories. So we say that ls is the external command located in the user bin directory. If you notice that directory is stored right here. So it is here, user bin directory. When you run the command ls, Linux will search all the directories and it will find ls command in this user bin directory. Then it will execute that ls file. Because if you notice that ls file is located also under the user bin directory, so it is right here. I'm just gonna clear the screen and run this command one more time. But what will happen if we remove this user bin directory from the path variable? So let's remove that directory. For that we will need to use export command. So export, let me write it. So export is another command that is used when we work with variables. We don't need to learn it right now, but I just want to show you how the path variable works. So I'm going to use export, and then I'm going to copy all these directories, and then I will use path, the variable name, and the values will be these directories, and I'm going to remove this user bin. So let's press enter. If we do echo path again, as you see that user bin directory is not here. We already removed that directory. And now let's run ls command. I'm gonna list the files under this etc directory. Press enter. It says the command ls is not found because we already removed that directory where ls is located from the path variable. Let's set this path variable one more time. So now I'm gonna add here this user bin directory. And then press enter. Now let's run this ls etc again. As you see that it just lists all the files. Now ls command works because we just included the directory where this command is located to the path variable. I hope now you understand the difference between internal and external commands. So that's it for now. See you in the next lecture. While we learn Linux throughout this course, we're gonna have tons of commands, and those commands are gonna have a lot of options, so it's impossible to remember all of them. That's why it's better to get help from Linux. So for that we have two base choices. Either we can use man command or we can use any command with option help. Let's start from option help. Nearly all commands accept the help option and displays a summary about how to use that command. For example, let's look at ls command. I'm going to use ls, and then we'll have -, and then help. Press enter. As you can see that it provides short overview about this command. It displays what this command does, how to use it, and what options can be used with it. So for example, let's look at this option A. It says that option A, do not ignore entries starting with dot. You can use either option A or you can use 2 dash and then all. Let's clear the screen and let's use that option A. So I'm going to use ls and then dash. So first of all, without A, let's use just ls. Press enter. So right now, under this directory, let's use pwd. So right now we are in the home directory. So under this directory, we don't have any files. At least that is what ls displays. But now let's use ls-a. Okay, now we have some files. So it means that this ls command doesn't work. We have to use option A. But actually it works. Option A just will list all the files. And apart from the normal files, we also have hidden files as well. So that is why it just shows all the files, including normal files and the hidden files. And those hidden files start with dot. You can also just write ls dash dash and all. It will do the same thing again. Let's run help command one more time. ls help. There's also another option I would like to show you. These are option. So it says reverse and it will reverse the order while sorting. For example, let's clear the screen. So let's do ls and etc. It will display the files under etc. You can see that it starts from A and then goes to Y. So it will just display the files alphabetically. Now I will use, let's clear it. Now I will use ls-r option and then etc again. So as you can see, it just starts from the last one. So it will just reverse that order. By the way, just keep in mind that some commands might not accept the help option. In that case, they will display an error message about valid options that can be used with them. Now let's mention man command. Let's clear the screen. Man command is simply your best friend whom you can ask help about the command syntax and its usage. If you don't know how a specific command is used, you can look at the man page of that command. For example, I want to know how the echo command works. So I'm going to use man and then echo, enter. So it just says that echo displays a line of text, and here you can see how you can use it, like echo, options, and the string that you want to print. And then it will give you some options that you can use with this echo command. So this is very useful man page, and if you want to exit, you can just press Q on the keyboard and then it will quit. So these man pages sometimes give a specific example about the command usage. For example, we have a chown command which changes the ownership of the files. We learn this command when we're going to talk about users and group management. But let's say that I don't know how this command works. I will just look at the man page. So let's do that. I'm going to use man and the command name. Let's press enter. As usual, it gives a small description and displays some options. And in addition, you can also see that it will give some examples, some specific examples that you can use when it is loaded. Overall, I highly recommend reading some articles about map pages to get a detailed understanding. But for the sake of simplicity of this course, I will finish right here, since you just get a basic understanding of man command. Let's talk about variables. Variables are really important because the Linux shell environment consists of a lot of variables. You can think of variables as a fixed name that can be assigned to dynamic values. So in Linux, we mostly care about environment variables. For example, if you remember that we have used this pass variable when we are talking about internal and external commands. So pass is the environment variable. We have a command actually to list the environment variables. So we can just use env command, env. It is just short form of this environment. So let's press enter. As you can see that we have many environment variables. And you can see the pass variable right here. So the pass is a fixed variable name and the value assigned to it will be dynamic. What it means that for other users, the value of pass variable can be different. Although we haven't talked about users yet, keep in mind that environment variable can be different for each user. As you can see that right now, we are executing using one user. environment command will display only environment variables for this user. If you switch to other user, for example, let's say that Eshkin Udemy2, this user, it might be possible that this user will adjust its own path variable. You can set the environment variable when it is needed. For example, imagine that you are installing Apache Tomcat. Let me just write it, Apache Tomcat. So it's just a web server to deploy Java applications. So in order to set up Apache Tomcat, you need to add some environment variables. One of them is a variable called Catalina Home. Let me write it, Catalina Home. This Catalina Home is just an environment variable which should be pointed to the main Tomcat directory. You should set this environment variable for this user. So let's do that. And let's say that we have installed Tomcat in the home directory. Let me just use pwd. Right now we are in the home directory, and let's say that we installed Tomcat in this directory, and so there will be another directory called Tomcat after this Eshkin Udemy 1. And I'm gonna set this Catalina home directory, Catalina home variable. Let's do that. I'm gonna write Catalina and then home, and then we have to use equal sign. Then I'm gonna write home Eshkin Udemy 1, and let's say that after this we have this Tomcat folder, and let's press enter. Now let's run environment command again and search for this new environment variable. I'm searching, but wait, we don't have this variable here. So let's do echo to print this variable. Let's clear the screen. Let's do echo Catalina home, and let's press enter. It doesn't display the value of the variable because we didn't use the $sign. So keep in mind that to print variables, you have to use $sign in front of it. So I'm gonna say echo. Let's just write this command again, and in front of it we have to put this $sign. And now let's press enter. Now it prints that value, and let's see that if it is in the environment variables. As you can see that it's not still in the environment variables. If you want to set it as an environment variable, you have to export it. We already talked about this export command in one of the previous videos. So I'm just gonna export this Catalina home variable. Let's clear the screen, and I'm gonna use export. Then I'm gonna say that Catalina, then home, and press enter. Now let's look at this environment. Yes, it is right here. As you can see that we just exported. So one more time, if you want your variable to be in the environment variable section, you have to export it. But what you're gonna do if you want to delete the exported variable? So for that we can use unset command. Let's clear the screen. We have this command called unset. You have to write it, and after that you have to write your exported variable name. So Catalina home, press enter. Let's one more time run this environment command. As you can see, it is not here. We don't have this Catalina home variable because we delete that exported variable. For now you don't have to know much about variables. I'm gonna talk about variables a bit more in the bonus section of this course, where I will teach you the basics of shell scripting. So for now, that's all about variables. When you watch YouTube videos or read some articles, you might hear people talking about file systems in different ways. The word file system can have many different meanings, and please do not get confused with that. In this tutorial, we're gonna define a file system like that. It's a set of directories defined by the file system hierarchy standard. Since you are using a terminal, it makes sense to explore the Linux file system from a terminal window. So let's start. Let's change directory to root directory. So I'm gonna use cd and then /. So root directory is defined with /, and then press enter. Use ls to list all the directories under root, and you see that we have many directories under this root directory. There is also a better command to show the directory tree. It's called the tree, and we have to use that command. So let's use tree, press enter. So it's not found because we have to install it. I'm gonna use yum install 3. So for that we have to switch to root user. Let's use this command again, yum install 3 and y option. Use Ctrl L to clear the screen. So we have to use this 3 command. Let's use 3. First of all, let's go to the root directory, and here let's use 3 command. So what's happening here? Seems that it lists all the directories and files under root, but we don't need it actually. Let's use Ctrl C to stop that, clear the screen. But how we are going to use these 3 command just to display only the directories under root? We already learned that there is also man page for every command. We can use man page of that 3 command. So man 3, and let's search for some options. Okay, option A, it will list all the files, because as a default it just lists the files, but if you use A option it will list all the hidden files as well. Okay, I think we have this L option here. So it says that it will display the depths of the directory tree. Okay, I think I got it. What does it mean? Let's use 3 and then minus L. So it says missing argument to L option. So we have to provide argument. I believe that it should be some number, because we are talking about depths of the directory. So it means that if I use 2, it will search for 2 depths, level 2, which means that, so for example, var directory is under the root. If you look at ls command, you see that under root we have this var directory. Let's clear the screen, and if we use L2, it will search for var directory under root, and also under this var directory it will list all other directories as well. So I think we can use L1. This is better. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Okay, clear the screen, run it again. So this is better. As you can see, we have many directories under root. So first of all, we don't need to know much about this. The first directory called AFS. So it is just a distributed file system. But let's start from the bin directory. Let's go to the bin, cd bin directory, and let's run 3 command here. So we have 765 files here. So bin directory contains binary files or executable files which are necessary for the operating system. Let's use ls actually. If you remember, in the previous section I mentioned that commands that we use, such as pwd, ls, they're all placed in this directory. For example, let's search for pwd. As you see that it is here. There is also one more directory. Let's go back. Let's run 3. There is also one more directory called sbin. You may ask that what is the difference between these 2 directories. So sbin directory also contains executable files, but the difference is that they should only be run or executed by the root user. So if you do ls, this sbin directory, you will see that we have also some binary files here. These directories, sbin or bin directory, also share the common libraries, and all these libraries is placed under this lib folder or lib directory. If you do ls, you will see that we have some libraries here. You may see different lib directories like lib32 or lib64. So they are kind of used for the same purpose. But the thing is, for example, lib64 will just store 64-bit programs. Since we are talking about binaries, we also have this user directory. Let me list all the files under this user directory. As you see that this directory, it has its own bin or sbin lib directories, which also contains executable files that are not necessary for the operating system. And it means that they are intended for the users, for the end users actually. In addition, if you remember, in the previous section, we talked about path variable that contains these directories. For example, if I do echo, then $, and then print this path variable, All those directories that we taught, they're all placed here. So when we run any command, it will search for that command within these directories. Then we have etc directory. Let me treat it again. So we have this etc directory, which just contains configuration files. If you want to modify or customize your system, this is the directory that you should look at. If you do ls, you will see that we have a lot of configuration files here. We also have a home directory. You see that we have this home directory. As you already guessed, it contains home directories of different users. For example, right now we have only one user. Let's go to this directory. And if you do ls, you will see that we have only one user called hknudemo1. If there were many users, home directories of those users will be placed here. Actually, we can test it. Although we haven't learned how to add users yet, I just would like to show it to you for the purpose of understanding the home directory. So I'm going to use user add command. I'm going to add the user name test. So we just added our user, and let's see that if we have the home directory of this user. If you do ls, you will see that we have this test directory here. If you have a lot of users, the home directories of the all users will be placed here. Let's go back and let's do tree again. We also have a few other directories, such as dev, for example. So dev directory contains device files. For example, if you do ls, you will see that all the device files here. So what does it mean? That if you plug in a new USB drive or new webcam to your Linux machine, a new device will be created here automatically. Let's go back. Then we have a boot directory. You see that above there we have this boot directory. This directory contains files that are required to start your system. So if you don't have advanced knowledge of the Linux, then it's recommended not to touch any of these files. Let me just do ls, this boot directory, and you see that we have some files here, and you can break your machine if you mess up one of these files. So that's why it's not recommended to touch these files. We also have this optional directory. So it's called opt. Where is that? It's here. So it comes from the word optional, and it is used to store software that you compiled, which means you built the software yourself from a source code. So right now there is nothing in this directory because we didn't compile any software ourselves. And then we have this var directory, or in other words, the variable directory. It just contains variable files. If you do ls, we have some variable files here. So those variable files will change during the use of the operating system. And this directory is also popular for the log files. You will find your log files in this directory. For example, under var, there is this log directory. You will find some log files here. Then you have this temp directory. Temp directory contains temporary files. Actually, this name, the temp, also comes from the word temporary. So it contains temporary files. So Linux itself can place temporary files, or you can also place some temporary files under this directory. So if you do ls, for example, right now we have some temporary files here, like systemd, service files, and ssh files, and etc. But why this directory called temporary or temp? Because the files under this directory will be deleted after some time. So it depends on the Linux distribution. On some system, files under temp will be deleted after reboot, and other systems may have cron jobs that running deleting files older than some number of hours or days. Let's print all the directories again. So we have talked about all necessary directories that you need to know, but a few directories still left. If you want to learn more about them, you can ask your best friend Google, or you can use the resource that I attached for this lesson. In Linux, everything is a file. In the previous video, I talked about file system hierarchy, and there I mentioned directories. Actually, directories are also a type of file. In general, Linux has three types of files. Regular files, they're the common file type which includes text files, images, binary files, and etc. Then we have directories, which are called folders in the Windows operating system. They just store the list of file names and the related information as well. The last file type is a special file, which includes device files. Let's start creating files. For that, we're going to use touch command. So first of all, you have to provide the command itself. It's called touch. And then you have to give your argument. So in this case, argument will be file name. Let's say that our file name will be just file. Let's create this file. And if you do ls, it is here. If you notice that I didn't give any extension for that file. So just keep in mind that Linux doesn't care about the file extensions. It just looks into the file contents and then will figure out by its own. In order to check the file type or in order to determine the file type, you can use file command itself. For example, we just created this file. I'm going to use file command and then I'm going to give the file name. So it is file. Press enter. So it says that this file is empty. So it can't determine the file type because the file itself is empty. And if you remember, we said that it will figure it out by its own, but it should look into the file contents. And after that, it can know that, okay, this is a PDF file, this is a text file, or etc. We can check another file in the etc directory. For example, let's use file command. And then under etc, we have this host file. Let's press enter. File command determined that this file, host file, is a text file. You can also check other file types under the root directory yourself. But for now, I'm going to talk about this touch command. Let's say that you want to create a lot of files. Their names will be similar. For example, file 1, file 2, file 3, file 4. There's a way that you can use touch command a lot of times. For example, touch file 1, touch file 2, touch file 3, and etc. But there is also one easy way in order to do that. You can use touch command and then you can give your file name and then you have to put two curly brackets and you have to write, for example, let's say that our files will be started from 1 to 10. So I'm going to use 1, then 2 dots and then just write 10. And if you press enter, it just created the files that starts from file 1 to file 10. If you do ls, you will see that all the files are here. In order to read the contents of the file, we can use cut command. I forgot to give the argument, the file itself, so let's stop that. For example, let's say that I would like to read the file contents of this file 9, for example. Since file 9 is empty, there is nothing to read, but we can read the host file. So under etc we have host file. Let's use that, and it just reads the contents of these host files. For creating the directories, we can use make directory command. So let's just clear the screen. We have this command called mkdir. So it means make directory. You need to write also the argument. So argument will be the folder name or directory name. Let's say that it will be folder, just folder. Press enter, and if we do ls, you see that it is here. The folder directory is here and the color is blue. So it's just differentiate files from the folders. And if you use ll command from here, you will see that for this folder in the permission section we have this D letter. So it means directory. I'm going to talk about these permissions later in the later sections, but just keep in mind that folder has always this D permission. So it means that it's not actually a permission, but it just says that, okay, this is the directory. You can also use the same curly brackets to create a lot of directories. Let's clear the screen. For example, make directory. I'm going to say that the folder name will be folder, and it will start from 1 to, let's say, 15. Press enter. If you do ls, as you see, it's just created folders starts from 1 to 15. Okay, it's here 15. Imagine that we need to create folders recursively. For example, let's say that we have folder called bin, And under this folder, we have another one called hkin1, and then another one called hkin2. So we have to create these folders. One way is you just use make directory command. You have to create the first folder, hkin, and let's do that. Let's move the cursor to the beginning of the line. For that, you can use Ctrl A. So Ctrl A just moves the cursor to the beginning of the line, and Ctrl E just moves the cursor to the end of the line. So let's press Ctrl A and then write make directory command. And let's press enter. So it says cannot create directory. No such file or directory. So it means that in order to create this folder, there should be this folder as well. And in order to create this folder, hkin1, there should be also this hkin folder. So this is the parent of this directory, and this directory is a parent of this directory. To eliminate this error, you have to use one option. So it is called p option, -p. So it will just create parents if needed. Let's press enter. You see that we don't have any errors, any issues here. If we do ls, so our hkin directory is here. Now I'm gonna do, first of all, let's clear the screen. Now I'm gonna use tree command and display hkin directory. Here it says we have 2 directories, but actually we have 3. The tree command just counts the directories like starting from here. It doesn't count the main one. So, but actually we have 3 directories. So the directory 1, so it is hkin, and after that we have hkin1, and then inside the hkin1 we have hkin2 directory. That's all about creating files and folders. In the next video we're gonna learn how to delete, copy, and rename those files and folders. In the previous video we have just created many files. Now it is time to play with them. The first thing that we're gonna do is delete some of the files. For that, rm command is used. Rm is a short form of the remove. So we're gonna use rm. First of all, let's use tree command. So right now we have 19 directories and 11 files. So here we have 16 directories, and here we have 3 directories as well. So in total we have 19. Just write rm, then you can write your file name. So it is just file. Press enter. If we do ls, you will see that we don't have this file here because we already deleted it. Let's use one more time. This time let's delete the file 1. So it is deleted. It's very simple to use this rm command. But what about directories? How we can delete some of the directories? So let's clear the screen. Let's do ls one more time. We have 19 directories. Let me delete this folder. For that, we're gonna use rm directory command. So remove directory command, then you have to put your argument. Argument will be our directory name. So remove directory folder. Let's press enter. If we do ls, as you see that we don't have this folder here because it's already deleted. If you remember, we just created this hkin directory, and if we do tree hkin, as you see that we have 3 directories here. So right now I'm gonna try to delete this directory. Let's clear the screen and let's use rm directory, then folder name hkin. Press enter. It gives us error message that says directory is not empty because under hkin we have 2 other directories as well. We have to keep in mind that this command rm directory is just used to delete empty directories. It cannot delete the directories that have some files or some folders under that. In order to delete this hkin directory, we're going to use rm command, but we have one option here called r. R means that it will delete the directory recursively. Actually, let's use man page. If you do man rm, here we have this r option. So it says remove directories and their contents recursively. Let's press Q to exit, and let's use rm option r and then our directory name. Press enter. So it is deleted. It doesn't give any error. Let's do ls. So hkin directory is not here, so because it's already deleted. I would like to show you one more thing. Let's try to delete directories in the root. So let's switch to root user. Let me print the working directory. Right now we are under root directory. So just keep in mind that this is different. We have also this /, which is root directory itself. And then under that, we have root directory as well. Actually, this is the home folder of root user. So do not get confused with this slash. So // means that it's root directory. And under root directory, we have root user. So this is the home folder of home directory of this root user. I'm going to create a few directories here. Let's use P option. And let's use test1, test2, and test3. Okay, it was just a typo, but it doesn't matter actually. Let's do 3. Then test1. So we have test1, test2, and test3. Now I'm gonna try to delete this test1 directory using this R option. Give the directory name and let's press enter. It's asking for confirmation to descend into directory test1. Since R option is used to delete directories and its contents recursively, it will start deleting the directories from the last one. So here it will move to the last folder. Let's just press Y. It means yes. Press enter. Then it asks again to descend into directory test2. Let's press Y again. Now it asks for confirmation to remove directory test3. So this is just pass of this test3 directory. If you put Y here, it will remove this test3 directory. Let's put Y and press enter. So right now test3 is deleted. Now it asks for confirmation to delete test2. Let's put Y again. Press enter. Okay, it's deleted. And now we have just this folder left, test1. Let's put Y. Or maybe let's put N. It means no. And press enter. And if we do 3 again, test1, you see that there is only test1 because we already deleted these two directories, but this one is left. If we put Y here, then it will delete this test1 directory as well. It usually asks for confirmation when you are root user. As a normal user, you don't need to provide these confirmations. But if you are root user, then it will start asking for some confirmations. However, if you don't want to confirm every time, then you can use the F option. Let me just show it. Let's clear the screen. Let's do man rm. Here we have this F option. This option will force deleting directories recursively without asking for confirmation. Let's test it. I'm gonna create again some folders. Let's say Eshkin1, Eshkin2, and Eshkin3. Press enter, ls. Okay, it's here again. We have a typo here, but it doesn't matter. If you do 3, Eshkin1. So we have 3 directories here. Now I'm gonna use rm, then R option for the recursive method, and then we're gonna use F option for the force deleting. And then we're gonna provide this folder name. Press enter. It didn't ask for any confirmation. If we do ls, Eshkin1 directory is already deleted. Okay, that's it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we're gonna use text editor. In the last video, we haven't talked about copy and move operations for files and folders. So before looking at the text editors, let's learn how to copy and move in Linux. You're gonna need to often copy the files like you do in Windows or MacOS. We have a command in Linux called cp, which helps us to do copy operations. So let's do that. But before that, I'm gonna look at the man page of this command. By the way, you should really learn how to use man pages, because in the future, if you want to take an exam related to Linux, then you will not be allowed to use the internet. In Linux, there are a lot of commands which are really long, so you don't need to remember all of them, but you can use the man pages or help commands to just remember or learn how to use that specific command. So, but anyway, let's see the man page of cp command. So basically, we have the command, and then after that we can use options if needed, and then we have source and destination. So first of all, we need to provide the command option, then we need to provide the source directory and then destination directory. Let's press Q to quit that. So I'm going to copy the files under the etc directory to the tmp directory. Let's use cp command. Then under etc we have these files called shells. So this is our source directory, and then we are going to have our destination directory, which will be tmp. Let's press enter and then list the tmp directory. So as you see that we have shells files here. So we just copied the shells under etc to tmp directory. Let's see that what directories or files we have. I'm gonna copy etc shells to, let's say, folder 3 directory. So folder 3, and let's list the folder 3. So we have shells file here. You can also change the file name while you are copying. So let's use the same command again, but this time I'm gonna say that file name will be my shells. Press enter. Let's do ls folder 3. You see now we have 2 files, and if we read them, so first of all shells, sorry, we have to use folder 3. So folder 3 and shells. So you see the contents, it just lists all the shells, and then let's read my shells. I'm just going to show you they are the same files. You see that the contents are the same, but we just change the file name while we copy that file. Now I would like to copy the shells file again to the, let's say, folder 33, but actually we don't have this folder. We just have folder 3, not 33. Let's press enter and see what happens. And I'm gonna do ls. So again we don't have this folder 33, but instead of that we have folder 33 file. As you see that it's not a folder, because if it's a folder it should be blue color, but right now it is white, so it means that it's a file. We can also check like that. For example, folder 33, you see that it's a file, and if we do folder 3, it said, sorry, okay, I'm going to use the option. So folder 3 is directory. You see that we have this directory permission, or not a permission, but it just displays that it's a directory. But for folder 33 we don't have that D, so that's why it's a file. As you already noticed, if the target or destination directory doesn't exist, the file will be created with the name of intended target directory. So often you don't want to do that, and therefore you need to put / after the directory name. For example, I'm going to use the same copy command, but after that I'm going to put / if we press enter. Now it gives us error message that says failed to access folder 33, which means that this directory doesn't exist actually. As we already mentioned in the beginning, we can also use some options with this cp command. One of the most common options is R, which stands for recursive. Let's clear the screen. So we have this R option, it stands for recursive. It helps you to copy the entire subdirectory with everything under it. So I'm going to use this option. So cp -r or -r. I'm going to copy etc directory to, let's say, folder 2. We have this folder 2 in this path. So let's press enter. Okay. We have something wrong here. It says it cannot access some of the files because etc is under the root and this user cannot access that files. That's why some files are not copied to this folder 2. But let's clear the screen and let's do ls folder 2. Press enter. So we have etc directory, and if we do etc here, we have some files are already copied to folder T under folder 2, sorry, under etc. we just copied full etc directory to folder 2. But I'm gonna use ll and the option for directory, and this folder 2, we have etc. So right now it has 4096 bytes. But if we do the same thing for the real etc directory, we're gonna see that the real size is 9192 bytes. So it is because we have less size here, it's because of that we couldn't copy some files because we're not root user. Now I'm gonna switch to root user. Now as a root user, let's copy etc directory to folder 1 of that HKNUDIM1 user. I'm gonna use cp -r, and we're gonna copy etc to folder 1 for HKNUDIM1 user, of course. So folder 1. Let's press enter. As you see that it didn't give us any error. Now let's do ll -d. So I'm gonna check this folder 1, the size of folder 1. So it will be HKNUDIM1 folder 1. Press enter. Sorry, not folder 1, but we want to get the size of etc. So right now the size is 8000. It is the same with this etc directory under root actually. There are of course other options as well, but we don't need to know all of them right now. We're gonna use them if needed during the course. But for now, let's talk about move command. The second command is mv. It's called mv. It stands for move. So basically, to move files and directories, you use this command. It's very simple actually. I'm gonna clear the screen. Let's do ls. Before that, let's switch to HKNUDIM1 user actually. Okay, so now I'm going to do ls. I want to move file, let's say 10, to the folder 10. But before that, let's check if we have anything under folder 10. So folder 10, we don't have anything. So let's move file 10 to folder 10. It is moved, and let's do ls folder 10 again. So we have file 10. If we do ls here, you'll see that we don't have file 10 here because you already moved that file from this location to the folder 10's location. You can also move folders as well. For example, let's move folder 10 to folder 5, but before that, let's see if we have anything under folder 5. We don't have anything, so I'm going to use move folder 10 to folder 5. We're gonna move folder 5 to folder 10. Okay, now let's do ls folder 5. Okay, we don't have this folder because we already moved that folder to folder 10. Let's do ls folder 10. Right now we have file 10 and folder 5. So this is one of the simplest commands that you can use, but you will often see that a lot of people use this command to rename the files and the folders as well. So in fact, it is just copying and deleting the original file. I'm going to show you this. For example, if we do ls, let's clear the screen. So we have, let's say, folder 15, right? So I'm going to rename this folder. I'm going to use folder, and then if I want to rename that file, I'm just going to write new name. So let's say that it will be my folder 15. Let's do ls. So right now we don't have folder 15, but instead of that we have my folder 15. So what happened here? Move command just copied folder 15 to my folder 15, and then it just deleted the original folder, which is folder 15. So I think that's it about copy and move operations. See you in the next tutorial. I would like to mention one more time that in Linux, everything is a file. To edit files on terminal, there are different text editors that you can use. But VI editor or Visual Editor is the most popular text editor for Linux because it's available in almost all Linux distributions. There are some versions of VI editor, but Vim is mostly used by Linux users. Vim stands for VI Improved. Let's see how it works. The command used to open a file is vim. I'm going to write vim and press enter. It just opens a blank file and it gives some information about vim. By the way, helping is always caring, so you can always help poor children in the world. So we have some types here. For example, it says that to exit the file, you can just write semicolon and q. So I'm going to write semicolon and q and press enter. So it's just exit the file without saving anything. By the way, if you use v instead of vim, press enter, you will see that as a default, when you type v, it will open actually vim. I mean, it will use vim versions of vi editor. I'm gonna exit, I'm gonna quit, and I would like to create a new file, or maybe before that, let's clear the screen. For example, let's say that we are going to open this, let's say folder 33. This is a file, right? Because we created in the previous video. So I'm gonna use vim and then folder 33 and press enter. So this is the content of our file, and you will see a lot of tilde signs. So tilde denotes unused lines. And in the bottom left corner, you will see the file name, which is folder 33. And 4L means that we have 4 lines. As you see that here, we have 4 lines. And 44B is for, like the size is 44 bytes. The Vim editor has 2 modes, the command mode and the insert mode. So right now we are in command mode. In this mode you can copy, cut and delete the text and save your changes. For example, if you press the D key 2 times, it will delete the current line. So right now we are in the first line. I'm gonna press 2 times the letter. So you will see that the first line is already deleted. What's important is here that you just need to remember that the commands are key sensitive. For example, we have command A with small letter and the command A with big letter as well. But now let's switch to insert mode and add some text. So to switch to insert mode, press I and you will see the notification in the bottom left corner that you are in insert mode. So let me write some text. Let's say that, let's go to the end of the line. So I'm gonna write, hi, I am Eshkin, I am from Azerbaijan. If you want to save this file, you need to switch to the command mode. So you cannot do it while you are in the insert mode. To do so, you need to press the escape key for switching from insert mode to the command mode. To save this file, I'm gonna press escape key and then write colon and then just write W and then Q. W is used to write the changes and Q is for quitting after saving. And now let's press enter. So it already saved the file and quit. So I'm gonna read this file again. So as you see that we have 3 lines and the last line that we just added. There's also another way to save and exit. So let me just open the file again. Let's say that we are going to the insert mode and add some additional text. Let me just write, what about you, for example. And then in order to save the file, as you said before, you can just write colon WQ, and instead of that you can also just press Shift and ZZ. But of course, if you are in the insert mode, first of all you have to go back to the command mode by pressing escape key, and after that you can do Shift ZZ. So it's just saved and exit. So let's read that file again. So our line is there. I'm gonna clear the screen. I'm gonna open that file again. While you are in the command mode, you can also press O letter, which will open the new line and go to the insert mode. There are a lot of commands to be used with Vim editor, and since they are case sensitive, you can do undesirable changes to your file if you press the wrong command. That's why in the resources I'm gonna provide you a list of commands that you can use with Vim. But for now, let's quit this file and create a new one. So I'm gonna just colon So before that, we're going to jump back to command mode, then the colon, then Q. It gives a warning that there is no write since the last change. So we pressed all letter, which just added a new line, but it was a blank line. We didn't write anything in that line. So therefore it says that there is no write. So that's why if you want to overwrite this, you can just write colon Q, and for the overriding you can use exclamation mark and then press enter. So it's already overridden. Now we're going to create a new file. We already used the touch command in the previous videos where we created files. Another way is to create a file is to use Vim editor. You will write Vim, the command name, and then you will provide a new file name. For example, let's say it will be my file. And if you press enter, it just opens this blank file named my file, and you will see that in the bottom left corner it says it's a new file. And if you do not save it, if you exit with Q, this file will not be created. If you do ls, you will see that there is no file named my file. But if you save it, let's do Vim my file, let's write something, I don't know, and then go back to the command mode, then save. So double Q, press enter. If you do ls again, you will see that it's here, my file is created. So this is another way to create the files. That's all about VI editor, but don't worry, because we're gonna use this editor a lot, really a lot, so you will feel more comfortable while you are working with Vim. Sometimes you will need to back up your files. Imagine you are asked to make some changes to your etc directory, but you did something wrong, and now you want to roll back to the default or previous version of etc directory. If you didn't get a backup of your etc directory, then you will be frustrated because you wouldn't have the old version of etc. Therefore, it's always better to take a backup of some files or folders before you start working on them. To create backup or to create archive files, we're going to use tar command, which is a tape archiver utility. For example, let's create an archive of etc directory. So we have etc directory under root. I'm going to take a backup of this directory. So I'm going to use tar command, and to create an archive file, we're going to use C option, and then we have to provide the file name. So we're going to use F option. Then let's say that our file name will be etc backup.tar. As you already know that in Linux everything is a file, and you don't need to provide any extension for that, but it's always best practice to use .tar in the end of your tar files. After the file name, we have to provide the path, what path we are going to take a backup, so it will be etc. Then just press enter. Okay, we are getting a permission denied error, so because we are just taking a backup of etc, which is under root, so that's why we are going to use sudo, or maybe you can switch to root user, then you can just run the same command again, so there will be no problems. Let's run this command. So right now you don't need to pay attention to this warning, it's not that important. So let's check that if the file is created or not. Let's do ls. Okay, it is here, etc backup.tar, our file is here. By the way, let's say that there is no .tar extension in the end of your file, but you can still check the file if it is tar file or not. If you remember, in one of our previous videos we have used file command. It will determine if the file is tar or not. So let's do file etc backup.tar and press enter. So it will say that it's a tar archive. I would like to use v option in the tar command, so I'm gonna use this tar file, and let's create the tar file again, but this time we are going to use v option. So v means verbose, and we are gonna see what files we are archiving. So let's press enter. Okay, it is done. As you see that under etc we have a lot of files or folders. Anyway, let's clear the screen. we use this command. Just remember that C is creating the archive file. File F option is just provide the file name, and we use V for the verbose. Let's say that after creating a tar file or before extracting the tar file, we might want to read or list the contents of the tar file. So in order to do that, we're going to use the T option. What we're going to do is, let's just clear the screen and list the directories. We have etc backup.tar. So I'm going to use tar command, then T for the reading the contents of the tar file, and then we're going to provide F to just write the file name. So our file is etc backup.tar, and when I press enter, it will just read the contents of tar file. Just remember that it doesn't extract anything, it just reads the files. Let's press enter. Another interesting command is to use this T option is word count. So let's say that we are going to read the etc backup.tar contents, but here I want to use piping, so I'm gonna count the lines of the output of this command. Also, this part is related to redirection or piping, which we're gonna learn in the next section, but I think we can still use it here. You just need to know that we're gonna count the lines, or we're gonna count the rows of the output of this command. So basically the output is these files, and we are just gonna count the lines, how many lines we have in the output of tar command. Let's press enter. Under etc we have 902 lines. So it might differ in your case, maybe you have 3000, it doesn't matter. So anyway, we managed to create and read tar files. Now it is time to extract the tar file for, let's say, restoring our etc backup. This is very simple actually. We're gonna use tar, and then as an option we're gonna use X. X stands for extracting, and then of course we're gonna provide the F option to just write the file name, etc backup.tar, and like before that, let's just list all the files we have. So right now we have etc backup.tar file, but we didn't extract it yet. So we're gonna use this tar command, so xf and then your file name, and then press enter. That was very quick. And if we do ls again, we see that it's extracted here. So we have etc directory here, and if you do ls for this etc, you're going to see that we have all the files. But sometimes you may also want to extract the files to a different directory, so you can do that as well. Let's check what we have under tmp. Okay, under tmp we have some files, some data. I'm gonna extract our etc backup.tar file to this tmp directory. So we're going to use tar xf and then our file name, and then we are going to use the big C option, and then we are going to provide what directory that we would like to extract to. So it will be tmp, and let's press enter. It is done. Let's check tmp. So we have etc directory here. That's pretty much about tar command. In the next video, let's learn how to compress the files while archiving them. To make your archives take less disk space, you may want to compress them to their smallest form, and for that there are some compression tools. The popular utilities are gzip or bzip2. They're just encryption algorithms, and these days they don't make much difference in file sizes. Right now we have this etc backup.tar, and if we check the size of this file, so it's around, let's say, 20 megabytes, and I'm gonna compress this tar file. I'm gonna use first of all gzip. So gzip, then we are gonna provide the file itself. Press enter. It's already compressed. Let's check lslr. As you see that it's already added another extension like .gz, so it's for gzip, so it means that it's a compressed file, and right now the size is 4.4 megabytes. So before it was 20 and we just compressed it, and the smallest form is 4.4. Now let's use bzip2. Let's see that if there are any difference or not. So but before that I'm gonna remove this etc. Let's create the tar file again. So we're gonna use cf options. By the way, you don't need to use this dash sign with tar command. You just can write this way, cf, and then we are gonna provide the file name. So let's say etc backup.tar and the directory. Press enter. Let's check. Okay, we have the tar file. It was 20 megabytes, and I'm gonna use bzip2 utility to compress that file. Press enter. Okay, it says bzip2 command not found because as default it's not installed. We're gonna install it. So let's use yum install bzip2. Okay, sorry, we have to use sudo, of course. Say yes. It's done. Let's check. Let's just compress the file. So bzip2 etc backup.tar, press enter. It is compressed. Let's do ls/. Now we have this bz2 extension. It's not really extension, but it's just something in the end of the file, and the size is 0.6, but with gzip it was 4.4, so we have 0.8 megabyte less here, but it's not that much big. Also, if you want to extract this compressed file, you can use bunzip2 for the bzip, and for the gzip you can use actually gunzip, but we already created compressed file using bzip, so let's use bunzip, and then just write your file name. Press enter. Let's do ls/. So now we have etc backup.tar, so now it is 20 megabytes. And then after that you can just use tar command to extract it, so tar xf, and you're gonna provide the file name. Press enter. Let's do ls. So it is here. We just extracted this tar file to this etc directory. This is all about using gzip and bzip utility, but there's another way to just use these compression tools. We can actually use them with tar command itself. We just need to provide one option. So I'm gonna use this tar file, and let's delete etc also. Now let's create the tar file. We're gonna use C option to create the tar file, and then for the gzip we're gonna use Z option, and then F for the file name. Let's do etc backup.tar, for example. Press enter. Sorry, but you have to provide the directory that you want to create archive of. So let's press enter now. Okay, permission denied because we have to use sudo here. Now it is done. If I do ls, so the file is created here. Let's do ls/hash to see that if it is compressed or not. And you see that it is gzip, that's why it is 4.4 megabytes, so it's already compressed. We can also use bzip utility, so we're going to use tar c. For the bzip we are going to use j, and then F for the file name. Let's do etc backup, and for example bzip.tar, and let's press enter. Okay, we have to provide the directory. And also we need to use sudo here, press enter. And now let's do ls/hash again. So we have two files. This is for the gzip and this is for the bzip. We can also easily extract them. For example, we are going to use tar command again. So x, let's say that we want to extract this gzip file. So we are going to use that option. Then f, then provide the file name. Press enter. It is done. We have etc directory here. Now let's remove this directory etc, and this time let's extract the other files, bzip files. So we are going to use j option, jf, and provide your file name. Press enter. If we do ls, so etc is here. As you see that it's very simple to create and extract the zip files. So that's pretty much it about compressed files. We are gonna learn how to use links in Linux, but before that we have to know what's inode or index node. Every file in Linux has an inode, so in simplest terms we can say that inode contains administrative or let's say metadata about files. But what's administrative or metadata? Well, basically it's everything but the file name and its contents. So inode contains all the information such as file size, file type, permissions, owner information, number of links, and etc. But it doesn't contain a file name. So basically inode is something like an ID card without a name written on it. There is one more thing that inode contains is inode number. So I'm gonna create a few files here. Let's see that we don't have any files. So let's use touch command and then write files. Let's say that there will be 10 files. ll command displays the long listing, and basically ll is the alias of ls minus l. So if we use I option, we can see the inode numbers of the files. We have to use ll and then provide I option. Now we have additional column here that shows inode numbers. You don't need to know much about inodes, but for the sake of simplicity, we can say that inodes just point to the some storage blocks in our storage devices. For example, hard disk. In your hard disk, there is a space that will be reserved for the inode when you create a file. And the inodes contains the permissions, the file size, the user, the group, the timestamps, and etc. If you look at the file size, you will see that it is 0 bytes, but actually all this information takes some space. The file size is 0 because all administrative information is written to inodes, which points to some storage blocks in your hard disk. So it's really important to understand inodes, so you can do some research on Google, but for this course, this tutorial is more than enough to get some information about inodes. So in the next video, we're gonna use links and see how they are related. Now let's learn what hard links are. I'm gonna create a new file. So we have 10 files here. Let me create one more file. But before that, let's delete all of them. So we can use star sign to delete all the files. Okay, they are deleted. So I'm gonna create a new file called, let's say, bugx.site, which is, by the way, my website name. So we just created this file called bugx.site, which is actually a hard link. This name is hard link. So it's pretty simple. When you create a file, you give it a name, and basically that name is hard link. Now let's create another link to this file. But before that, I'm gonna add some content to the original file. Let's use vim for this one. So vim bugx.site, and I'm gonna add, for example, let's say hello. Escape, Shift Z to save the file. In order to create a link, we have to use ln. ln is the command. Then we have to provide our original file name, which is bugx.site. Then after that, we are going to write the new name, new hard link. So it will be link, let's say the link and to bugx, for example. Press enter. But let's use this I option as well. So as you see that we have the same inode numbers. So it means that when you create a hard link, the inode's number will be the same. Actually, these files are the same. If you look at these permissions, the users, the group, the timestamp, all the things are the same. So basically, it's something like they're just copy of each other. And this number shows the number of hard links. So right now, we have 2 hard links. That's why it is 2. I'm going to create a new one. So let's use ln again, our original file name. And let's say that it will be link to bugs. So now we have 3 files, and there is no difference among these 3 hard links. They are all just hard links. But what happens if we delete one of them? Let's delete the original hard link. So I'm going to use rm, and original one is bugs.site, press enter. It is already deleted. As you see that nothing happens, just this number is decreased by 1. So before it was 3 because we had 3 hard links. Right now we just deleted the original one, so now it is 2. And we can still read the contents of these hard links. For example, let's read the second hard link. So nothing will be broken if you delete one of the hard links. You can think of hard link as a copy of the original hard link or the file. But when you copy a file, it means that you just create a different file, but with the same content. So let me just copy one of the files. So I'm going to say cp, then let's copy this file, for example, and the target name will be copy, let's say test. Press enter. If we do ls li, so we have 3 files, and let's do some changes. For example, let's do this one. I'm gonna add some contents, so hello there, and if we read the copy test, so it is hello there, and if we read for example link to, let's say, it's not there. It means that the file which we just copied is a different file. But if I add some content to one of the hard links, so let me use, for example, this one. Let's write hello there, 3 exclamation mark. And if you read this file, link to, so hello there, 3 exclamation mark. And if you read the first one, it's also there, which means that they are the same files. Let's clear the screen. We have created a hard link to a file. Now let's create it to directory. So first of all, I'm gonna remove all the things here. So we have nothing. I'm gonna create a new directory called test, and let's create hard link from this test directory. So we're gonna use ln test, and then let's see link to tests. As you can see, we are not allowed to create a hard link to the directory. So this is just something that you need to remember when you create some hard links. In general, links are pretty useful because they allow you to create links in different locations so that your file will be more accessible. But anyway, that's it about hard links. In the next video, we're gonna learn soft or symbolic links. I'm pretty sure that you know what a shortcut is in Windows. You can think of a soft link in Linux as a shortcut in Windows. You will often hear symbolic link or symlink rather than soft link. Therefore, I suggest remember it as a symlink. So symlink is just a pointer to the original file. So let's do some practice. I'm gonna create some file. So let's say that it will be Udemy, and then add some content here. In order to create soft link or symbolic link, we have to use again ln command, and we have to provide this as option. Then let's use our file name Udemy, and then let's say that it will be s link, for example symbolic link 1 to Udemy. Press enter. If you pay attention to the inode, you will notice that they are not the same. You see that this is 92 and this is 91. Basically, as we already said, a symbolic link is just a shortcut of the original file. But in hard links, inodes are the same. And here also you can see that this is the soft link, symbolic link that points to this original file, which is Udemy. And if you read the contents of this symbolic link, let's use this link, you'll see that the contents is there. Now I'm gonna create symlink in different location. Let me clear the screen. First of all, I'm gonna delete this test directory. Sorry, for the directory we have to use rm directory. Now I'm going to create a new directory called folder, and I'm going to create a link from Udemy, and the link name will be, let's say, test, and under test we have to create a new file, so a new link actually, so it will be, let's say, slink2 to Udemy. Press enter. Okay, something is wrong here, so sorry, I used test folder, but there is no test folder. The name is actual folder, so I'm gonna do again, but this time here I should write folder. Okay, let's press enter, and let's do ls-li to the folder directory. It seems like our link is created, but the point is why this one shows red, why it is red. So you have to keep in mind that if it is red, it means that the link is broken. And if you read this symbolic link, so I'm going to use cut folder and then slink. It says no such file or directory. So this is a bit weird because symlinks tend to like full path. It's always recommended to use full path when creating symlinks. So instead of this command, if we used something like this, for example, but before that let me show you the current directory. So the current directory is home/udemy1. So I'm gonna use this command again, but this time I will copy this directory, paste it here. Under this we have Udemy, and here as well. So we have this home directory. Under home directory we have folder, and under that we have slink to Udemy. But this time let's use link 3 and press enter. So it seems like it's created. If we do ls-li to the folder, as you can see that slink 3 is okay. It's not broken. So let's read that link. So it will be slink 3, but it's under folder slink 3. We can read that symlink, so it means that it is created, so it's working. By the way, I believe that I already mentioned in one of the previous tutorials that you can use tilde sign for the home directory path. For example, if you use this command, so instead of this path, we can just type tilde here as well. So tilde means that it's your home directory path, let's say. Let's just remove it and replace it with 4. Press enter. And if you do ls-li folder, so symlink 4 is also created. It's not that important, I just would like to remind you that we can use this tilde sign instead of your whole path of the home directory. So I guess that's it about symlinks. See you in the next tutorial.